Her first experience talking to dead people was when she would go down into her basement while her older siblings were at school and talk to Henry, a stocky old man with a beard wearing overalls. Henry was a ghost. I'm Beth N. Campbell, and this is Something Weird Happened Here. Welcome to Something Weird Happened Here, the podcast for people who love a twisted tale but aren't afraid to poke at it a bit. We share stories that are postmarked peculiar and then explore the story with curiosity and an open mind. Stay tuned after the show to find out how to submit your strange saga, and maybe we or you will share it on air. Now let's get started, because no matter where you are in this mysterious world, something weird happened here. This tale is postmarked Michigan, USA. Subject line: Soul Contracts and Dead Farmers. This episode is part one of a conversation I had with my friend Evie. Evie and I got to talking so much and about so many interesting topics that I just decided to split it into two different episodes. Evie and I met when I first started ghost hunting. She and her then husband had a paranormal investigation group that my husband and I joined just before we got married. Evie, welcome to Something Weird Happened Here. You know, when I started putting this podcast or really brainstorming it, you were one of the first people that I thought about to come on
Aw.
and talk with. Yes, for multiple reasons. Number one is because of our ghost hunting past. So you were a part of the very early journey of Sean, my husband, and I's journey. And but also because I was, as I was thinking about you, I was like, I know she told us and I witnessed that she had some gifts, shall we say. And that's really where I'd love to start today. I really wanted to talk about your I'll call it, I mean, what would you call it? Like I call it intuitive sensitive. I mean, what would you call this gift that you have?
I would call it a curse and a blessing. That's exactly what I would call it. It's a curse because it's something you're born with and you just have to deal with and learn how to deal with. With great power comes great responsibility thing, right? You have to. So it's a curse because life is hard for people with intuitive, higher power, talk to the dead gifts.
Yeah.
It's a little hard, makes life a little challenging, especially when you can read people and you know what they're going to do before they say it, and it's a curse, but at the same time it's a blessing because you use all that, you gain all this knowledge, and you've gone through all these challenges, and that's what you use to put out there when you do go to help the
Yeah.
dead or the living.
I never really thought of it in that respect, but because I don't feel like I have. I think sometimes we say everybody has some ability, but I if I have any, I'm either closed off to it or I just haven't developed it yet. So it's hard for me to imagine, but I can imagine. It's actually harder for me to imagine it being a blessing because I would probably look at it a little bit as a curse too. Like, so maybe just for the sake of the people who might be watching or listening, can you give us a little taste of what is the nature of what you go through in this with
Oh.
this sensitive, intuitive? So you've told me before when we were ghost hunting and when we last talked that you can sense. I think you said something like you've never been in a house that you've not sensed something there, meaning an energy, an afterlife, sentient or not, but just some remnant of a person no longer living. Was that an accurate statement?
Definitely. It's not only that you can pick up who and sometimes what has been there before you, but then you also pick up on the people that are currently there. And so you end up with this. It's like sometimes you see in a movie or a music video where the person is standing still and everyone's rushing past them and all and
Yes, yeah.
voices and feelings and worries and what about it, and it's all of that all the time, constant,
So
kind of like
are
that.
you are you able to determine what comes from a living person and what comes not from a living person or a person at all?
Actually, yeah. I mean, obviously, if there's nobody else in the room and somebody's coming at you or you're picking up on something or you're hearing something and there's nobody there, then they're obviously not there. But you can pick up through, say it's a grocery store that was built over a house that burnt down and 3 people died. People that are sensitive and intuitive, they already have an open pathway to that energy because spirits are souls. Souls seek the path of least resistance, which is energy, which is like electricity. That's what they do. Living creatures are putting off this electricity, this vibe. Passed on creatures are putting off this vibe. And it becomes no different being in, say, this grocery store, seeing the old lady look, deciding if she can afford eggs or not, and feeling her pain. And then at the same time, somebody sitting there talking about, oh my gosh, my pie's burning. You can definitely tell the difference between
Yeah.
in a room of crowded people who's alive, who's not, who's visiting, who's watching, who's there, especially like if you're around when someone's passing. You get everybody, you get the living, you get the ancestors, you get the neighbors, you get everybody
Oh.
just whoo.
Now, what are you feeling or what are you sensing? Are you getting images, words, emotions? I mean, all of it. What do you experience as a person who is receiving these whatever energies are out there?
Like from the living, you get more of an emotional feeling that you can read. It's more tangible. From those beyond, you get emotional, you get visual, you can get smells, you can get everything that they're experiencing at the time you're experiencing them, I guess I could say.
Wow. Do you get both? This is just fascinating to me, Evie. We've never talked about this. I'm just like so fascinated. I haven't even gotten into like this the second bullet point in my very long list. Um, do you pick up stuff, do you think, from both sentient energies as well as what's the other word for when it's not it's kind of just a memory or an energy or a loop or
The residual energy.
residual, yeah. Do you get both or are you picking up more on
Definitely both. You get everything. Any creature or being or anything that has energy either in it or imprinted on it radiates that energy back, and then it finds that path of least resistance to translate it, I guess you could say.
yeah. And that's you. You're probably like a lightning rod of hey, let's
Kinda, right?
she seems to be
It's
picking
like
it
you
up.
walk in and it's like, you're like, woo, woo, woo. Yeah.
Do you ever get anything specific from someone like that I really have to, that there's the whole ghost I've got unfinished business thing, and I just wondered if you ever get any of that. I really, really, really need to tell you this or, whatever.
Yes, I have. Yeah, definitely. They want somebody to know. That I get that. I would say I get that more than I just get a regular picking up on a regular ghost going about his business or passing through or doing his thing. Yes. As soon as somebody knows that there's someone in their area, and when I say somebody, I mean a spirit, when they know that there's someone around that can pick up on what they're putting out there, they will come at you and they will give you the message or show you something or tell you something. And you're like, well, what am I supposed to do with that? I don't know your relatives. I don't know your people. What do you? Okay. Like you could say, okay, Bob from 100 years ago, you want people to know that the house burnt down because someone lit it on fire. Fine. I will go and do some research on your house. I will put an article in a newspaper. I'll give you some kind of closure. You can go further.
Yeah.
But then I tell them, I literally have told them, I don't got time for that. I'm sorry. I said I will. You can talk to me. That is
No.
cool. We can hash it out anytime. Tell me your feelings. I'll help you through it. I'll talk to you. Whatever you need. But dude, I don't got time for that. Like, but I'm I got
Yeah.
you.
I feel for you, but
Right.
I got dinners on the table. I'm waiting for
Right.
me.
It's not like Charmed where you can say, okay, stop and go and find the house and do the thing. No, you can't. You
The
can't do
stop time.
that. unfortunately.
So how when did you discover that you had this? I mean, how old were you when you first started having these experiences?
My first memory of conversing with dead people, I was very, very young, and it was the old man farmer that used to own the land that the house I grew up in was built on, which I didn't know at the time. He was just my imaginary friend Henry who wore overalls and lived in the basement. I was the youngest of five kids, so even my next oldest sister was old enough that when she was in school, I was like not even in kindergarten yet. So I spent a lot of time playing by myself alone as a kid, not having anyone to talk to. So he was my first friend, and it was Henry, and he was in the basement because I'd go down the basement and play.
Now, did you tell anybody about Henry and what did they say?
Not until, I mean, he was there forever, but my first ex-husband, we first lived at that house before we bought our house. And when we were living in the bedroom upstairs, he woke up in the middle of the night one night, freaking out about this old man in overalls sitting in the corner of the bedroom, glaring at him. And the only sense that he got, he wasn't conversing with him or talking with him, but he was like psychically picking up, you better not F around and find out. You better keep on the straight. You better do it, like don't mess around. Don't, he was like a
Wow.
hard ass to him. And I was like, oh, Henry got my back.
That's right. Henry's looking out for you. Oh, that's freaky.
There was
Did
that.
you say? But by the way, that's just my childhood
I
friend.
did. I'm like, that's Henry. He was my imaginary friend in the basement when I grew up. I That's the first time he actually manifested to somebody other than me.
Could you actually like see him like as if he were there, or are you seeing him like you can picture him in your mind? You just know his presence is there, but visually, are you actually like he's standing? Like if somebody were to say, "Where's Henry?" and you go, he's like standing right there.
To me, he was just as real as a person.
Wow.
I know that he wasn't physically there, but when I would play with my blocks and my cars and things and talk to him, when I looked at where he was taking up space, he was kind of a stocky, lumpy dude, like just kind of saggy baggy old man in overalls and, just a shirt underneath and gray beard and wrinkly old face and super old. He wasn't there physically, but that's how I saw him. And then again, my ex-husband confirmed that's what this dude looked like.
Did any of your siblings or your parents ever see it? And also, did you tell them, and what did that anybody believe you? Did they not believe you?
I think I probably told them. And now I will say though, the house that I grew up in, everyone in my family and people that even came to that house we experienced paranormal, supernatural, alien, everything.
Really?
The house was
Do tell.
crazy. So nobody else ever talked about seeing Henry, but everybody has a story about that house. I mean, yeah, we grew up in a very active spiritual entity active house.
Why do you think that is?
There is a lot of evidence that being around rivers and lakes, certain rock formations, certain natural elements do create a thinner veil. However, in my particular experience, because of the random nature of all the entities that would come and go and visit, other than Henry, you never saw the same thing twice or experienced the same thing. It was more of, now my mom was also highly intuitive, and she's out with the aliens now since she's passed. She was a star seed or whatever you call it. Her whole life she was all about aliens. And so it's like when the dead find a path of least resistance, when other things find other ways of coming in, you create your own like roadway, your own portal. Like
Yeah.
like in the house, the central hallway was where, if an entity was going to appear and do something or say something or walk or knock on the door or go through the mirror or whatever, it was always going up and down the hallway, up and down the hallway. It was like a traffic zone. It was like It was like a interchange on the freeway. And once those things start happening and once they can come in, it strengthens that portal. So now, oh hey, other things can come in, and hey, look, there's a doorway. Let's go there. Let's see what's
Thins
going
the
on there.
veil. Yeah, yeah.
It builds. It's like a backwards black hole or something. Instead of sucking everything in, it just opens and anything can come out. The stronger people are bringing those in and communicating with them and experiencing them, it's like the more strength they have to come through, and then anyone can come through, and then you're getting everything from visitors, ancestors, aliens, ghosts, and not only just body shaped entities, but then you are also opening up weird things like,
Did anything ever like that you witnessed in your house, did it ever scare you? Because you don't seem like at all. I mean, especially being a child when you first saw this Henry person spirit. So it was something that you kind of just grew up with. So I could see how that would be seem
yeah.
very normal to you. But if there's all this stuff going on, did anything ever happen that disturbed you or scared you?
I had things that happened that probably should have, but I never was scared, even as a kid. Even as a kid, I was like, oh, this is what we're doing now? Okay.
Wow.
No, never scared me as a kid, never scared me as an adult. It's like after so many years of experiencing bringing different things in and experiencing different things, it's no different than meeting someone else on the street, even,
Yeah. Anything outside of, in the rest of your life outside of that home? Because you sense things a lot of places. Anything ever just kind of not sit right? Or maybe a bad, do you get bad vibes with people too?
yeah. People, energy is energy. And
Yeah.
it's an analogy that I would say is, and not to get off topic, but I have a
Oh,
point
please,
to it.
please do make it off topic.
For example,
We
when
will
you
go.
talk about witchcraft, people will say, "Are you a good witch or a bad witch? Do you practice black magic or white magic?" There is no black or white. There is no good or evil. You have an energy and you have a will behind it, and it's what you're going to use it for. So humans, the living, are just as creepy on a soul level, can be, even if they look kind, just as creepy on a soul level as a spirit was. Yes. So
Have you ever been wrong? Like, have you ever had like a sense about somebody and you thought either like, oh, this is a good person or like a whack job, and then been wrong?
I'm going to toot my own horn and say no.
I
I literally, I'm not even going to be egotistical at all. I'm going to say I would. There's many times where I wish I had been wrong, and I could kick myself if I had just listened to my gut instincts about these things a couple
yeah.
times where I probably should have. But
I think
like,
a lot
we
of people
still have human ego. We still are humans and
yeah,
still feel things.
yeah. I think a lot of people talk about when you get a vibe from someone, and I certainly, although I've said very openly that I do not feel like I perceive things in the way that in any way even close to what you would. But probably I could get better, but I just don't. But I have had many occasions where you first meet somebody and you just immediately know this is my people, or there's just something really off. And I know part of that is just that we do pick up cues that are actually there that sometimes people don't pick up. That is part of what intuition is, but I pay attention to that, right? Because almost all the time I'm right. But I do remember this guy once back, I was living in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I was working at a restaurant and I just could not stand this guy. There was something about him that just, I couldn't put my finger on it. He was very nice, never did anything, but it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I don't know what happened. Maybe one time he joined our group and I actually got to talking with him and I thought, this is like the funniest, nicest guy I've ever met. So that was like the one time where I really got a weird vibe from somebody, but felt like I had been wrong. And so that made me think maybe it was like something in me.
Those types of situations, those go back to soul contracts.
What's a soul
People that
contract?
Ugh, Woo! Down the rabbit hole,
See, I
down.
knew we were gonna go all kinds of places. We're gonna have to do a second recording, I can already tell.
So a soul contract is so somewhere, somehow, souls are created in the vastness of whatever up
The
there, out
vortex, yeah,
there.
whatever.
Okay. And there's this simplistic terms. There's this cachet of souls, and a soul says, "Hey, I want to go down to Earth because that is the ultimate teaching lesson. I can go to every other planet and every other solar system and learn all these cool things, but only certain many souls are chosen to go to Earth to learn the lessons as an Earth human because Earth is a human existence is the most difficult lesson of existence to learn because of all our emotions and things and all the stuff that we go through."
There's a lot of contrast with humans, and I know that
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
So they'll come down if they're chosen. You have to get chosen. You have to go through your spirit guide meeting, and they're like, all right, you're good to go. Down you go. You hook up with another soul. Boom. Okay. When you meet that person, we're talking past lives here. So you meet this person and you're like, wow, you're cool. I want to get to know you. You start dating the say we're 100 years ago. You start dating the person, they beat you or they kicked your dog or stole your wagon or whatever. And you're like, well, that sucks. So you break up with them. And then you're like, well, why did I meet that person? Because when you were up there with your spirit guides deciding if you could come down to earth or not, you're also deciding who you're going to have contracts with. I want to run into this type of a soul to experience true love. I want to experience wealth. I want to experience loss because a pure soul wants to and has to experience everything, the good, the bad, the heartache, the poverty, the wealth, everything. So you create these soul contracts. So then when you come down into the existence, you meet the people to fulfill this checkoff list of your soul contracts in a sense. So then, okay, so we're back to this person you knew 100 years ago that pissed you off, did something wrong, and you're like, ugh, whatever. So what happens is you die. You go back up to your thing. You're like, hey, that was fun, but I didn't finish all the lessons I wanted to learn or I needed to learn. So they ship you back down at another time down here in the human plane of existence. You run into the same soul, but it's in a different person.
Mm.
Now, that person has also gone through the same process. So, whereas they had to learn how to be evil in the past life, this time around they had to learn how to be good. But your souls know that you've experienced a relationship with them in the past. So when you first meet someone and you're like, ugh, this guy's crazy, or you go on a first date and you're like, ugh, he's not that cute. But then you start talking and now you've built a new relationship. You
Yeah.
have that soul contract, and you've met that person before. You get that vibe first.
That makes perfect sense. And you're not the first person I've heard talk about this because and this is like many years ago. I remember somebody asking about, the purpose of souls and like what would be the purpose of a soul that, like, for example, a baby that dies like a week after it's born. And they said, well, maybe that the lesson to be learned is that they were learning what it's like to be born. That was one of the
Yeah,
lessons that they were learning. So it's
yeah.
pretty interesting.
Well, that's why you can't judge someone. You have to feel them. You have to get through that first.
It kind of plays into that whole, like, there's a sort of a prevailing theme of past life where you meet the same people over and over again as well. It sounds very similar. Like it really fits well into that. And I remember I met a person once that I really never got along with, and I really just didn't like them for reasons that I could articulate and observe, but also other reasons that I just didn't think that they were not my people. They were not a good person, and unfortunately, I had to be in an environment with them on a daily basis. But I remember there was a time where I was doing during this time, some past life self-hypnosis. And I remember having this vision, and there was a kind of a scary situation in this um, vision that I'm having. And I opened a door, and it was that person in, like 100 years ago, right? So in a past life. So I was having it was a parade, and I was running from someone or running to someone or something. Anyway, It really was, it kind of makes sense to me what you're saying because I really felt like after I had that past life hypnosis, I'll call it a memory. I mean, I don't know, it could have been just my imagination. I
A good
acknowledge that.
word because it is kind of a memory because you don't know where it's coming from or yeah, memory is a good word.
Yeah.
A tangible memory, I guess, or
It felt
something.
like a memory but it was very shocking when I opened this door and saw this person there who in this past life scared the bejesus out of me. I just didn't, it was not somebody that I wanted to see, hoped to see, and I was very averse to them. And it was the same person though.
Yeah, you're
I could
like,
tell in
really?
the
I
eyes.
went through all this, open the door, and that's the person on the other side?
Yes, yes. So you talked a little bit earlier about the good and the bad. It's a blessing and a curse. Are there things that you can do to block it out or protect or keep it at bay, or is it just constant, thank you, but I'm busy with somebody right now?
Yes, and I don't know how I've done it because it definitely was harder to do years and years ago, but now it's like ignoring someone when you walk in a room. Like you're going to walk into the room where your grandpa and the aunt is, but the aunt you don't like. So you walk into the room and you acknowledge the aunt, and you're like, ah, eh. And then you go talk to your grandpa and give him a hug.
All right.
I don't know how. I think it's just experience after experience and practice and practice. It's practice. You don't realize you're practicing it, but it's a survival mechanism. If you're oh, what do they call it? If your nervous system can't build up a defense to this, you would lose your mind.
I
So
imagine.
it's like somebody who psychologically abuses you, right? They tear down your nervous system and you don't even know it. It's the same thing. These interacting with energy will break down your nervous system because your nervous system understands what's going on. That's not part of the human body, the physical body, right? That's energy. And it's practice of, and actually, you know what, it probably helped was starting paranormal investigation professionally, getting out there and putting myself in situations that I wouldn't normally have experienced random things. That actually was practice. It was like weightlifting for your
Yeah.
soul.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you definitely do build up, and sometimes honestly, and I didn't even realize this, sometimes I've done it so well I struggle to bring in who I want to bring in. And I'm like, are you kidding? Dude from down the block from 200 years ago coming at me, but mom's like, I can't hear you. Where are you?
We've reached the end of part one of my conversation with my friend Evie. For the second half, we'll be diving into my own something weird happened here experience with pet spirits. And Evie is going to tell us about her adventures with tarot cards, so make sure to look out for that one. Thanks for joining this episode of Something Weird Happened Here. If you have a twisted tale that you witnessed, experienced, or heard from a reliable source, go to bethanecampbell.com/somethingweird to learn more and submit your story. If your tale is twisted enough, we'll share it on air during one of our episodes and might even invite you to be a guest on the show. And we're not picky. Your Something Weird Happened Here could be paranormal, psychic, UFOs, near-death experiences, dreams, parallel dimensions, Bigfoot, Chupacabra, or any other weird and unexplained phenomena. We don't discriminate. If you're into paranormal mysteries that are scary, fun, and realistic, pick up a copy of my latest book, The R.I.P. Files, Case of the Demon Drums, the first in a series inspired by real cases that I, Bethany Campbell, worked on when I was a ghost hunter for nearly a decade. Case of the Demon Drums is available on Amazon and most online bookstores. And finally, we would so appreciate it if you would rate and review us on your favorite streaming platform and/or on YouTube. Thanks again, and remember, stay skeptical, but don't run towards the noise.